And I'm with the University of Ontario Institute of Technology, and it's my pleasure today to introduce Mike Cavaliere, the business manager for Covanta Durham, New York. So as a business manager, Mike is responsible for client and community and government relations, financial management, contract administration and management for the Covanta Durham, New York facility. Before joining Covanta Durham, New York, he was the business manager for Covanta's energy from waste facility and 2 transfer stations in New York. Prior to joining Covanta in 2011, he served as the regional business manager for the U.S. Securities Associate, general manager for Cintas Corporation, and served as an officer in the U.S. Navy aboard the USS Annapolis, a nuclear submarine, and on board the USS Eisenhower and Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carriers. Michael holds a bachelor's degree in political science from Indiana State University and a MBA from the Keller Graduate School of Management. Please welcome Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, during the course of the presentation, you're going to ask yourself, something's not right here. He's losing his Canadian accent. I've been up here 4 months now, so I know I picked one up, but I'm going to come out and confess I am American, in case you haven't figured that out already. And sorry about my Connecticut accent if it throws you off a little bit. We talk about waste management. It's a very, sometimes controversial subject, but a very important one. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is about a little energy from waste, a little about Covanta, the status of construction, and operations of a facility. But when we talk about waste management, it starts with the hierarchy. That was originated in Europe, and it was generally designed to maximize energy savings and minimize greenhouse gases. And what we practice are the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. And recycling also includes composting. Well, you're left with a tremendous amount of waste. The decision comes, do you turn that into energy, or do you bury it into a landfill? And if you decide, when you're looking at this question to make a decision, here's really the breakdown comparison. Is what you have on the left side with the landfill is you have a huge methane generator, which is 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Compared to the offsetting of these gases, of the greenhouse gases, by turning that into renewable energy at an energy from waste facility. There's also the hazards and dangers of leachate from the water in the waste itself. Now, I know there's new measures being taken place, but that still becomes an issue or a concern. Whereas when you look at energy waste facility, the waste being processed was reduced to 10% of its original volume. So there's no leachate, and it's non-hazardous ash once it's treated. You have non-sustainable land use compared to small area being used for the energy from waste and for capturing of recoverable materials such as ferrous and non-ferrous metals. And renewable energy generation significantly less when it comes to landfill than an energy from waste facility. So I've looked at this argument before. I really don't see the comparison, but some people do. But now when you think about this, North America is behind. The United States is the largest amount of energy from waste facilities in North America. But when we compare ourselves to Europe and to Asia, you can see a significant difference, a huge commitment to energy from waste and to recycling. And these charts just show you the difference between where we currently stand, Canada, United States, to these leaders in these various areas. We have a long way to go, but the good news is we can do it, we can get there. To take a little closer look at Ontario. There's about 12.5 million tons of waste that are generated in Ontario every year, and 9.4 million tons are remaining after energy from waste production. And that waste right now is being landfilled. If you think about it, if we were able to convert that to at an energy from waste facility, we are removing or offsetting 9.4 million tons of greenhouse gases. But waste diversion is good news in Ontario, because Ontario is the leader, or one of the leaders in Canada when it comes to waste diversion. The goal is 70%, but they're 54% right now. And compared to 47% in Ontario and 37% in Canada. So it means that we're on the right track, we just have a ways to go. These next couple slides I'm not going to get into, I'm just going to show you a comparison, because really what I always try to represent is never challenging any other energy generation, but really comparing energy from waste to landfilling. So when you look at this slide and you look at the difference, well, this one slide doesn't actually have landfilling. It's just to show you the offsetting greenhouse gases compared to the gases that are generated with these other type of energy sources. But right here, these slides, they're not as clear as I like them to be, but they just capture the difference between, and really comes down to these two categories in each one, which is the difference between landfilling and energy from waste when it comes to these four important emissions. We're very low, we maintain, I'm very proud of that, at Covanta and in the industry itself. Very low levels of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, NOx, and of course particulate matter. Another misnomer when it comes to energy from waste is that it competes with recycling. And that can't be further from the truth, because every facility, every community that has an energy from waste facility has very high recycling rates. And in fact, all communities that Covanta has a facility that operates is above 50% when it comes to recycling. A little about Covanta Energy. We are recognized as the leader of energy from waste, a world leader, large company. We have 45 facilities that we operate in North America, and Asia, and Europe. We have over 3,500 professionals that work for us. And what we do every year is we process about 20 million tons of waste, generating approximately 9 million megawatts of energy to power what they estimate about 1 million homes. So we are very small compared to OPG, but we do our part. And we process about 65% of the waste in the United States. This here is a snapshot of our facilities, and you can see they're more centered around the coastal regions of the U.S. A couple in the middle of the country, and then you can see Durham, York, and up over there in Vancouver. The problem is that when you have land availability and it's less expensive to landfill waste than it is to turn it to energy, sometimes, or most of the time, that decision, especially you can see in the United States, is made to landfill it. So the effort continues to build more and more facilities. When you look at our performance, and I'm really focused on Covanta right now, every year with the whole process, the way it works, and I'll show you in the next slide, a couple slides, how the process works. We recover metal, ferrous and non-ferrous. We recover about 430,000 tons of ferrous metal and about 15,000 tons of non-ferrous. You can see what the equivalent is, 19 ambassador bridges we can build every single year, or 1 billion soda cans. So a tremendous amount of metal. And recovery's only been going on for about a decade now, a serious recovery effort. So if you think about the 50, 60, 70 years that waste's been buried, tremendous amount of energy that's in metal that's in the ground. Also energy generation. As I said before, we generate about 9 million megawatts of energy, also equivalent to 9 billion pounds of steam, enough to power a million homes, or really Toronto area. And the greenhouse gases, the general rule, 1 ton of waste processed is equivalent to 1 ton of greenhouse gas being offset. So 20 million tons of waste being processed, we just removed 20 million tons of greenhouse gases. A simple comparison. Another initiative that we have that helps us at Covanta continue to move forward is called our Clean World Initiative, and really focused on improving areas of operations, research and development, advancement of solid waste management, and community partnerships and programs. And what this has resulted in is improving our boiler availability to high levels to make us the most reliable source in the world, driving down emission levels across the board. And now, granted, emission levels can vary based upon the characteristics of the waste itself, and it does vary from region to region, even all parts of the country, Canada and the US. So you have different challenges, but we continuously drive those emission levels down to lower and lower levels. We always figure out and determine ways to recover more metal, because although we have a very high metal recovery rate, we always know there's still more metal that can be recovered in that waste, smaller amounts and quantities in different types. So we're always looking for newer technology to continue that metal recovery. We have a new system, a gasification system called ClearGas. It's been tested successfully. We're just still waiting for an opportunity when we're going to actually build that facility and implement it on a full-scale basis. And One thing that has always been very, very important to us, because we know the consequences to our employees and to our company, is safety. We take safety very seriously. We have a very strong safety program and safety mindset culture in our company. And part of that is being a VPP star status, a Voluntary Protected Program status, a very prestigious safety certification to receive, and most of our facilities have those. And part of our program is being involved in the community, whether it's being part of organizations, sitting on boards, participating in activities, being leaders in the communities, and helping others achieve their business or core objectives. So it's very important for us to fit where we go. Now that covers energy from waste, and that covers Covanta. Now let's just get into the good stuff, which is what's going on next door. In case you didn't know and realize, we are next door. I had gotten a couple of questions today as to where we're located. So, I think I have to make that sign a little bit bigger. I know I'm posting very serious, but especially that one right there, but I'll take care of it. Now, what's the facility going to bring us? So what's it going to do? Right now, we're going to process 140,000 tons of waste annually. That's going to about 110,000 tons will come from the Durham region, all the Durham waste. The other 30 will come from the minority partner right now, York region. So that's 140,000 tons. It's going to generate about 7.5 megawatts of energy, which is equivalent to providing enough energy for 10,000 homes annually. We have the ability, the way it's designed and built, and the way it's conceived, to expand the facility. That doesn't mean we're already built for an expansion. Expansion means changing of the permit. We can bring more waste in, we might build another boiler. But we're set to do that when the time comes, and that's in the future. But that's the forward thinking that we have, that we know the time will come, where we can take more waste in, generate more energy, recover more metal. Good things. And obviously help the region, because the goal is 70% diversion, and we're going to help them get there. This is a picture. This is the process, energy from waste. And just a simple walkthrough. You see that truck right there on the left side? That's a truck coming in, backing up on our tipping floor, dropping the waste. We will do audits on the waste that go through to identify unacceptable waste. We push into our pit. We have a big grapple hook that comes down. We'll pick up the waste, drop it to our hopper, which feeds our combustors. At very high temperatures, that waste will be processed. It's going to heat boiler tubes. That boiler tubes are going to create steam. Steam's going to go to our turbine generator. It's going to be converted to electricity and go out to the utility. Now, what we have right now, when the waste is being processed, it's reduced to 10% of original form in the form of bottom ash and fly ash. Now, the bottom ash is not hazardous, drops right to the bottom, right from the burn. And the fly ash will come from the flue gas. It's going to pass through first our spray dry absorber, which is a piece of equipment that we inject hydrated lime to clean and scrub the flue gas, all right, which drops and attaches itself onto emissions and also all other fly ash, drops to the bottom treated. Then the rest, the particulate matter, will be collected in our bag house. So what we have going out of our stack is very, very low levels, well within the stringent standards set by the administrative environment that go out of our stacks. You'll never see anything out of the stack unless it's a very cold day. It's like breathing, where you can see your breath. So it's a very safe process. It is a well-regulated process. Reports are sent minute by minute to the ministry and to the Durham region. So they see everything we see. Plus, we're doing a big jumbotron. So if you drive by, you might be able to see the emission standards as you go by, what we're doing, how we're performing. But also part of the process is that when it all drops down, the fly ash will come with the bottom ash, and we'll go into our ash bill. We'll separate them because they have different purposes. And what we're doing with the bottom ash is we're extracting the metal, the ferrous and non-ferrous, and that will go into separate silos, and it will be shipped off to a company for processing. So water is completely reused, recycled. Nothing is discharged from the facility. It's really a closed-loop system. And now what I want to do is cover, I'll cover a little bit more as we go through, but I'm going to have some pictures to show you different aerial views and different shots of what it looks like. And this one right here is, if it didn't give it away, that's where next door. You might have seen that one, but nice shot of the facility. And then here's just part of the construction. We start off from left, you go left, down, top, right to right. That's just kind of the cycle up until the fall of last year, or the winter of last year, the construction facility. And what I'd like to draw attention to are two things. One, the 3,211 tons of metal that's recycled. We estimate we'll recycle about 3,500 tons of metal a year, so we'll recycle enough metal to build another facility every year. It constantly replaces itself with recycling. The other one, of course, is the safety hours. We're over 1 million hours now work to date, and we have not one accident. So we take a lot of pride in that, especially considering there's over 300 people working on that site almost daily, or 280 daily. So it's a good trait to them. We're going to have a highlight feature. We're going to have a visitor center, which we can bring classrooms, organizations. We can hold meetings there. People can come there and see how it works. They can actually see it live happening. And it's going to be state-of-the-art because there's nothing like it in North America. Aerial view. This is the southern view of the facility. Actually, my fault. It's the western view. Once the landscaping comes, it's really going to look nice, but we have to get landscaping in. We're laying down sod, but obviously you might have to wait till spring. Talk about the 4 components, because the environmental aspects of the facility are extremely important. It's a sensitive subject. It's just one thing that's top on the list of the ministry and of our client as well. And I just want to address 4 areas. Odor management. We have induction fans. Basically, it's going to vacuum up the odor. There will never be an odor problem unless there's a strong wind coming off that lake that's pushing it somehow through. But that's the way it's designed. It's designed not to be an issue. And the way we process the waste, it quickly comes in and goes out being processed. The tipping, and we'll also just another element, once a truck comes in the facility, we're going to close the doors to the tipping floor, so it kind of entraps it, and then it will be vacuumed up with our fans. As I alluded to a little bit before, water management. We have 0 water discharge at the facility, efficient air-cooled condenser, which reduces the consumption by approximately 10 times. Wastewater is reused in the process, and stormwater is managed on-site retention ponds. And you got ash management and noise management, 2 very important components as well. Ferrous and non-ferrous metals being recovered. Bottom ash will be landfilled as non-hazardous waste with a long-term goal to find a beneficial use. Right now, the beneficial use is at landfills is another layer in landfill covering. Some places use it for concrete and block construction, especially in Europe. We're trying to get to that point. In the States and Canada as well, to have an alternate use for the ash. And like I said before, our fly ash is mixed with cement, pozzolana, and water for conditioning, and subsequently landfilled as non-hazardous. So the ash that comes to the facility will be non-hazardous. So it is a safe facility. And I encourage you, everyone, to go onto the website, Durham's website, or at the Covanta.com website to learn more about what the facility is, what we are as a company, what we do, and how the measures we put in place. So you can learn for yourselves what this facility is and why it's an asset to the community. But noise management. You can see there that little device that we have. We have noise mitigation tools at the site. Closed boiler and emission control systems, noise controls applied to auxiliary equipment as well, and monitoring receptors placed in various locations. Now, when you look at what is the economic benefit of this facility, well, we have about 280 workers on site every day, and nearly half of the construction budget has been spent on locally sourced goods, labor, and services. That's about over $100 million has been reinvested back into the local community. And you can see that list of suppliers. I don't want to take up the whole page with all the suppliers that we utilize in all the restaurants and various businesses that are part of this project. We utilize them. But we make sure that a significant amount of the money for this project has been invested in Clarington itself. The same thing with local labor. We track everyone who comes on the site every day when they go off the site. So we know that 75% of our labor force is local labor. You can see here over 700 people have been involved in the project indirectly or directly since its inception. And when it's up and running, which we're hoping will be in a month, that we will have 40 permanent jobs. We already have jobs filled, but we have 40 permanent positions in addition to the 700 jobs that we've already been created. The next, what I'm going to go from here is just a bunch of slides showing the facility, different components of it. This is the ash building, or the residue building. Along we can see what the superheated components look like. The switching yard. Now this is the empty pit. It's the only pit we fill, we'll never see empty again because it just doesn't get that way. But that's the crane. And there's the crane operators, so it's like playing a video game. And by the way, we do have a video game called the Crane Game if you want to see how it works. Just it's easy to download app, and you can just learn how the crane operator actually works. But they got the joystick, so they get to have more fun. And some aerial views. This is the view from the north. View from the south. east, and west. That is it. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Larry?
When's operation scheduled to start?
We are planning for a couple weeks from now, so probably late November, early December. We're at the final phases and making sure we're dotting every I, crossing every T, packages being signed off, equipment being certified. Our most important focus right now is a flawless startup. No concerns whatsoever. If it delays a couple more days, so be it. It's most important that we start that up flawlessly. Other questions? All right.
They can ask you questions out there if they want.
All right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Perfect.
Be available.
Oh, Mike, don't run away yet. It's a gift.
Thank you so much.